I would ask Gavin Arvizo if I ever met him in person. How do you feel knowing that you were a contributor to ruining someone else's life when that person's life that you ruined saved yours? I genuinely wonder what his response would be.
Good luck.
What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. So we're here finally with the Michael Jackson The Verdict documentary reaction, review, my response, my refute, my diss, whatever it is you want to call it. But before I get into it, I just want to touch on a couple of things first. For those of you who are wondering why it took so long for me to do this video, is because I'm busy with real life stuff. Particularly, I'm an actor. I'm an actor first and foremost, and I've got a lot going on as far as that is concerned. And it's been taking up 35 to 40 hours a week of my time. So basically, I had to put YouTube on the back burner until I had a moment to really get into some of the videos that I wanted to get into, particularly this one. Because as a lot of y'all know, I don't like to do a video unless I can give it my 100% or my 110% effort, energy, time, and attention. If I can't do a video the way that I want to do it, I'd rather not do it at all until I can do it. So here I am on a weekend banging it out. So 2. Now, I was already going to do this video since it was announced, okay? Because I think, the verdict came out in the very beginning of June. I think it was like June 3rd. And I finally watched it. I got a chance to watch the entire thing on the 18th. And what I did was I took all the notes, everything that I thought, everything that I felt, everything I wanted to say. I made note of it so that way I could read it out loud and give my thoughts, just like I did in the Casio's Exposed video. And last night I was watching a new episode of Power Raising Kanan. For those of y'all who don't know, it's a series franchise that comes on Stars, and 50 Cent executive produces the show. And one thing he said at the end of episode 4 is something that speaks to my whole MO as far as making videos about defending Michael Jackson and all of this shit, right? And I want to read the quote. And the quote is, he says, "At some point, lies become the truth. Shit get passed around long enough, what's real don't even matter no more. Get to a point where the nigga that started the lie starts believing his own bullshit. And by then, you can't even call it bullshit no more. Because that lie becomes fact, history, some shit you studied in school. Only thing that's real in this world is you're going to live and you're going to die. Everything in between that is bullshit." And I was like, bro, that's exactly why it's just as important to tell the truth as often as possible. Because if you don't, the liars are going to be too busy spreading their lies. And again, you tell yourself a lie long enough, it starts to become truth. You hear a lie long enough, it's going to become the truth. And, for a lot of people, despite being exonerated, despite, being innocent on all counts, to a lot of people, Michael Jackson is still guilty, and I'm not fucking with that. All right, so that was a quote that really just put a battery in my back to get this video done today, because it was either I do this video today or I go to Philly to go see the Will Smith concert. But I was like, you know what? 1, it's hot outside. 2, it's too last minute to get a crew and wingmen to come through with me. So I was like, let me just bang this video out and try to get to as many YouTube videos as I can before I gotta, get back to, my main quest. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Based off of the first 3 minutes and 42 seconds, I felt invaded. almost as if it was my own property being intruded upon. And the reason why I feel like that is because I imagine me having my own house, apartment, or even my own room. And a random stranger, worst of all, a cop, is coming in there rummaging through my shit. Now, granted, I wouldn't have anything nefarious to hide, but just the fact that these motherfuckers have the legal right to create a piece of paper, call it a warrant, and just force their way onto my property, into my house, to me, is insane. I relish in the fact that Michael Jackson wasn't there, because if he was, I feel that the whole ordeal would have been much, much worse. All right. And, you know, I will say, when I first started watching the documentary, it made me think back to that time period when all of that shit was going on. And the thing is, bro, I was a little kid. So of course, like, I heard things, but a lot of it went over my head because, again, I'm a little kid. A little kid that's not even, you know, what, like 8, 9 years old, doesn't even have a perception of, you know, legalities, sexual assault, verdicts, trials. I had no perception of that. You know what I mean? I knew it was something bad, but it wasn't something that I could truly comprehend. And I think I've gotten into it somewhat, obviously, you know, as I got older, but it was never generally the focus of my attention the way it has been the last, you know, couple of years or so. And I feel the verdict, it did a decent job in allowing me to kind of go back to that time period and experience what that was. You know, I definitely want to watch more pro Michael Jackson documentaries and things like that. But yeah, I felt like the very beginning of that of the verdict was like a time machine to that. And it's like you're watching these cops, you know, talk and literally invade Michael Jackson's property, his home. And to them, it was just another day on the job. But it's like, to Michael Jackson, it's like, yo, bro, they're in my house right now. To fans, it's like these people are like desecrating, you know, like a sacred place almost. And I wasn't fucking with that. You know, I was not fucking with that. And it's like I immediately felt for him in the beginning of the documentary. Now, 2, I said, now just imagine living your entire life under the watchful eye and scrutiny of an abusive father well into your adulthood. So in response to this, you use the spoils of your hard work and pour into purchasing a property and transforming it into a place of peace and positivity and freedom. Not even just for yourself, but for your loved ones, friends, family, children, including ones suffering from diseases or terminal illnesses. And let's highlight the fact that you do not have to open your home to anyone. And I think allowing someone into your home is probably one of the ultimate forms of trust you can give to someone. Because me, I don't even like the idea of people coming to my house unless it's a woman I'm dating, because those are the only ones that I would willingly invite into my personal space. And truth be told, it's because I don't trust people like that. I said, one, on the surface, Michael Jackson's trust of people, to me, can be described as naive to people. But the more I give it thought, again, just 3 minutes and 42 seconds in, I see it differently. I have a saying that what people have to say about you or how they speak on you or other people is a reflection of themselves, right? And usually if someone is projecting something negative, then it is usually indicative of something happening with them. Oh my gosh. And usually if someone is projecting something negative, then it is usually indicative of something happening with them internally, which would explain their behavior. Let's apply that saying to Michael Jackson. All Michael ever did was project love and purity to the world, because that was what was on the inside. Because I genuinely believe that's how he saw the world. Otherwise, explain songs like We Are the World, Heal the World, Black or White, and so on. He is the type of person that truly saw things from a lens that I don't even have. I think despite the things that he went through as a child, I think for Michael Jackson to have gone to hospitals to visit children, donate millions upon millions of dollars to charity, creating opportunities for other artists, musicians, producers, and writers, and opening his home to strangers is a testament to a part of him that had not been tainted or damaged. Because I can say that my experiences in life have tainted my perception of people, which is why I am a million times more guarded, and I rarely ever trust people now because of past disappointments and betrayals. Whereas Michael, even after being betrayed, he still continued to be a loving, giving person, because that is who he was. And he couldn't help but be that. Just like it was in his DNA to be an entertainer, a writer, a producer, a dancer, a singer, a choreographer, entrepreneur, it was in his DNA to be a loving person just the same. And look how long it took. How much it took for him to shut down. Michael Jackson endured more in 50 years than what most average people have in multiple lifetimes. This is facts. For Michael Jackson's former bodyguard, which I actually do want to do a reaction to one of his interviews, to speak on Michael Jackson's death and say that Michael left because his soul was tired. What does that tell you?
I've often told people, and I'm a stand by it. I tell people Michael Jackson left. That's what I tell people. I tell people he left. He left this world. This world was mean to him. When people ask me, what do I think killed him? I tell them stress certainly played its role. He was going through so much. There were so many people that wanted a part of him, trying to control him, trying to control me. I don't know the true dynamics behind his passing, but I do believe there was several pieces of involvement, not just one person.
For him to say that while he was employed by Michael, he was offered life-changing money to accuse Michael and to help solidify the allegations against him. I can honestly say 3 minutes and 42 seconds in that what these people have done is truly unforgivable. They took the trust, love, and support Michael gave them, threw it back in his face, spat on it, and then spat on him. Unfor-fucking-givable. Before I continue watching it, I want to emphasize one last point. This world makes it hard to be a good person. Not a nice person, but a good person to other people at least. Because watching the people that I admire most, Michael Jackson or Will Smith, be more ridiculed than Diddy and R. Kelly, to me, is crazy. And I've said that before. When all they ever did was put smiles on people's faces and inspire, people hated them for it. This is why I only show love and give love to people that show me that they are worthy of it. I don't just give love for free. This is facts. I think Michael Jackson was someone who was very giving freely. But what I find, and this is just, again, my experiences with people in my own life, and I would say shit, even recent years, I find that people take love that they didn't earn for granted, right? It's like I think certain people, not everybody, but I feel like certain people will be like, oh, he's showing me all of this love and I didn't have to do anything like for him. And then they value it less and less. And this is why now me in my own life, bro, I'm not quick to show love to somebody. No, I'm not. You have to show me that you value it and that you're worthy of it for me to want to give it to you. Because there's so many times where like I show love to niggas and then it just seems like because it came so easy, they think less of it. And this is true. This is true. Michael Jackson is an example. A lot of people in this world, you know, are pure examples of the bad things that happen when you just are nice to people like for no reason, and then the way that people will react to your kindness. You know, my granddad always says love and forgiveness. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, right? But me, I'm like, you gotta have some authority in that motherfucker. You gotta have some power in there, because people take advantage of love and forgiveness and kindness every single day. And it's like, bro, I don't have that for people that don't have it for me. You know, and you want to know why? All I gotta do is watch the documentary. All I gotta do is look at everything that happened to Michael Jackson. So people want to know, yeah, yo, damn, like, yo, Dimitri kind of stays to himself. Shit, look what y'all did to Michael Jackson. I ain't gonna be that way. I'm sorry. Not to everybody. Anyway, let's continue. Because in this video, I won't be able to have, you know, like clips and stuff like I did in the Casio video, because, you know, copyright reasons and all types of shit. So I don't really want to deal with that. So again, you know, I'm reading my thoughts and I'm firing off. So I said initially, what I don't like is how you can tell that Randy Taraborelli scenes are cut and spliced together. So when I saw him at first, right, because my understanding of this whole thing was that they had majority people that were against Michael Jackson, then there were people who were for Michael Jackson. And it just seems like they put these things that Randy was saying and they made it seem like so ambiguous and open to interpretation that it's like you didn't really know whose side he was on. Because to me, I'm like, this was someone who knew Michael Jackson, met Michael Jackson in the 70s and maintained a relationship with him throughout his life, and you know, was a pro Michael Jackson person. That's what my understanding was. But I feel that they tried to manipulate it to make it seem like something that it wasn't. Then I said they introduced him right before they brought in Martin Bashir, but they left Randy's parts almost open to interpretation leading into Bashir, which is already painting a bad picture 6 minutes and 38 seconds in. I said it's interesting that he says that Michael didn't really do his research into Martin Bashir, because this interview with Princess Diana did not do her any favors. I said, what I wonder is, okay, cool. If Michael didn't do the research, why didn't anyone around him or anyone that was working for him do that for him and look into the matter first? Because at that time, for Michael to open himself up to the public again, it should have been in a positive way, not a negative one, right? I said, so one could say Michael made the time, wait, what the fuck? I said, Michael made the mistake, but then that is the benefit of having people around you who can watch your back or see something coming that you don't. Clearly, according to Randy, there weren't any. 11 minutes and 42 seconds. Martin ends up saying that Michael volunteers openly that he slept in the bed with Gavin Arvizo. I haven't seen Living with Michael Jackson in a long time, nor have I seen the edit of the segment that Michael put out himself, but what I do remember is that clearly Michael Bashir's version was edited with a certain intention in mind. That's the whole idea of post-production, is that you can shape the footage to be exactly what you want it to be and how you want it perceived by the audience. I've already seen clips where there's no context to the shit that they used, when they should have included the entire conversation and not just cuts to make Michael look and sound wild. At 12 minutes and 27 seconds, Martin Bashir makes it sound like Michael said that what Michael said about sleeping in the bed with children was a Freudian slip. Because don't you think if Michael had something to hide, he wouldn't have said anything and actually, you know, hid it? I believe Michael was open about it because there wasn't anything wrong with what he was doing.
I think all of us were shocked and deeply saddened by the news today. I was actually out running in Central Park when I heard, and came home, showered and came into the office. Many of us were excited about the prospect of him performing in London. Thousands of people had bought tickets from all over the world, and now to hear this news is very, very sad. I think it's worth remembering that he was probably singly the greatest dancer and musician the world has ever seen. Certainly when I made the documentary, there was a small part of that which contained a controversy concerning his relationship with other young people. But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself. And whilst his lifestyle may have been a bit unorthodox, I don't believe it was criminal. But But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself. And whilst his lifestyle may have been a bit unorthodox, I don't believe it was criminal. And I think the world has now lost the greatest entertainer it's probably ever known.
Really, nigga?
And also, Gavin Arvizos' family was there on the ranch. It's not like it was just Michael and Gavin. I'm like, his whole fucking family was there. I said, also, criminals don't try to get caught or purposely reveal what they're doing. This is why you have to have people that'll watch your back. I don't think it was necessary for Michael to do an interview at that time. He didn't need to do an interview, period, in my opinion. And if he did, I agree it should have been with real journalists that were screened and selected based off of the merit of their previous work and their professional integrity. Facts. Because it's like, I wonder, it's like, why do an interview at that point? You know, to me, it's like, I would ask Michael, like, why now? You know, like, Princess Diana can't be the only reason why you would want to work with this dude. It's like, we don't know him. We don't know him. You know what I mean? You got to interview these people. It's the same thing. It's like when Michael Jackson is doing a music video, you can't just walk on set just because you're a choreographer and say, hey, Michael, I want to work with you. Michael's not going to do that. You have to go through a whole, you know, lengthy, elaborate, labyrinth-like audition process and screening process before you could even get to Michael Jackson. And I feel like it should have been quadruple, you know, that when it comes to somebody coming into his house and interviewing him. Not even about music and career. This is like real intimate shit. And the thing is, I probably should watch Living with Michael Jackson, or really the real fucking version. Fuck the shit version. You know, I want to see the real, not the fake. So I ended up saying, I said, ironically enough, immediately after professional integrity comes into play, Diane Dimond shows up on the screen.
Thank you for being a friend.
Frankly, I had no idea who Diane Dimond was until she was brought to my attention by a subscriber in my Discord. And back then, I had done some research on her, especially after finding out that she was a producer on this mockumentary. It can and should immediately be assumed that this whole entire thing is really a hit piece and not a fair analysis on the trial years before. Even just the look on her face tells me she was excited to bash Michael Jackson and throw him under the bus yet again, just like she did back in the day. At 17 minutes and 42 seconds, Diane says that after she saw Living with Michael Jackson, she, along with another NPC pseudo-journalist, went looking for Gavin to try to find out his name. Now, the question that I want to know is, why? Essentially, they didn't have anything at that time to go off of, but that interview finally gave them a window of opportunity to go after him so that they could try to bring Michael Jackson down. How? Because all they had to do was offer them a specific dollar amount. Like Bill Whitfield said, life-changing bread in order for them to be flipped. It's like I said in one of my quick takes before, the vast majority of human beings have a price. It's like I said in one of my last quick takes before, the vast majority of human beings have a price. I pose this question. If someone told you right now that they'd give you $500 million liquid today, but you had to do something contrary to your morals, or that you'd have to sell somebody out that you knew, how many people would say no? 500 mil. There are some that wouldn't, but it's because they understand that money is not the most important thing in life. But to many, money is the most important thing in life. And they take 1 million and do the same thing. Needless to say, about 500 million. Kevin Smith, at 18 minutes and 10 seconds, of NPC News Agency, even admitted to paying the employees at Neverland. What the fuck does that tell you? Like, okay, now let's be real before I even read the last sentence. Let's say something truly nefarious was happening at Neverland, right? And I'm an employee and I work at Neverland. I'm not a fan of Michael Jackson. I'm literally just an employee. I'm the cleaner. I'm the janitor at Neverland. I got to clean up the stables of all the animals that are there. And I know something nasty is going on. And I don't agree with it. I don't condone that. You shouldn't have to pay me for me to do the right thing. Money has nothing to do with that. Money has nothing. First of all, I would quit. first of all, off rip, I would leave if I saw that. And then two, if someone were to ask me to cooperate with the authorities, bro, I would do that if in fact something was happening. But you have to pay somebody to lie. You should never have to pay somebody to tell the truth. The truth is the truth. The truth doesn't cost. Not in this situation. So, because one thing I realized is that, and I know a lot of people hate the fucking, the verdict, which rightfully they should. But anybody with common sense would literally understand the angle of this thing. And the angle is in fact to their detriment more so than for their benefit. Because they're exposing themselves. Because you got to keep in mind, they didn't really have anything to go off of. And everything that they were saying and everything that they were showing and the way that they were showing it, they were telling on themselves the entire time. And I'm like, how could somebody not see the truth through all the smoke screens that they try to put up? It's the same thing with the Casio shit. It's the same thing. It's like, if you have common sense, right, and 1 + 1 = 2, then you'll be able to see this shit that they were trying to pull as clear as fucking day. They'll try to get you to feel something just like they did with this shit. It's like they would talk about, certain stories, and then they would do like the digital walkthrough of Neverland, and then they would have sound effects in the background, water splashing and kids laughing to try to get you to feel, because they didn't have any proof to show. None. Anyway, so I said, you would think these people were the FBI or CIA hiring people to go undercover to take down a kingpin drug lord. They were bending way over backwards to find something to get Michael Jackson because they hated that man to pieces. At 22 minutes and 36 seconds, again, this is all just the first episode. Again, I fucking top to bottom took notes. Janet Arvizo says, "Dearest loving Michael, we appreciate you being our family. Family to me, Janet, and Daddy Michael to what the fuck? Oh, family to me, Janet, and Daddy Michael to Gavin, Star, and Dave. What God brings together, no man can undo. We love you." Now, as with the Casios, I pose this question. When all that stuff was happening to Gavin, allegedly, where were you, Janet Arvizo? These are the questions that you ask. Where the fuck were you? So if you were on the ranch with Michael the whole entire time, based off of what I know, when your son was being abused, where the fuck were you when all of this was happening? Were you eating? Were you all in his fridge? Because I know she's a little, you know what I'm saying? What were you doing? You taking a nap? I don't understand. And even if that was the case, you would see that there was something visibly and emotionally wrong with your kid. Absolutely you would. If you're a good parent, at least, you can't be that fucking oblivious. The way they present this woman, she seems to be very involved with her kids and was there with Gavin along with his brother. So how could that have happened on her watch? I don't understand. Y'all were there at the same time. For her to have written such a personal note to Michael, that means she knew him like that. That means at that point, they had to have been around him for some time for her to consider him family. And for Michael to have been something of a father figure to two boys who didn't have an active father in their life. And shit, speaking of the Casios, where the fuck were y'all when you motherfuckers made it seem like Michael was abusing y'all full time? Where were you? Anyway, I'm not buying into the shit because I am positive that while what the fuck? I said, I'm positive that while if there was any inkling that Gavin was truly abused, it wouldn't have taken long for his family to catch on to it. Right? Because my thing is this. Shit switched up with them once they got paid by whoever it is that they got paid to throw Michael Jackson under the bus. Because you see, again, I don't know. I haven't spoken to anyone who has, good things to say about Michael Jackson and has spent let's say a certain amount of time on Neverland. But what my understanding is from everything that I've known so far is Michael's the type of person that will allow you into his home. He will spend time with you. He, will essentially be like a host almost, right? But Michael is not cutting checks, and just giving people multi-million-dollar allowances, right? So like, let's say if I met Michael Jackson, and let's say, like this lady's story where, they were outside Neverland and then they just happened to run into Michael Jackson, and then they spent days on the ranch with him. Just because I'm there at Neverland does not mean that I am now entitled to Michael Jackson's lifestyle and all of a sudden I get elevated to his tax bracket. No. Michael Jackson is just hosting me for a certain amount of time until it's time to go. It's like almost like at Disney World, right? You stay at Disney World for 3 or 4 days. You don't just live there forever. And I think this is how these people came to feel, specifically the Arvizos. This is how they started to feel after a while. It's like they're with Michael Jackson, and then Michael Jackson becomes something of a father figure to them. And then they think, oh, you like family to us, so now we want money. We want to live this lifestyle forever. Until their fucking bubble gets bursted, and then Michael's like, all right, so what y'all about to do? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I thought we were family. And then this is when they get tight. So then when you got the Diane Dimonds of the world, and then the pseudo NPC journalists of the fucking world, when these people come at you, you're already fucking disgruntled, and pissed off because you thought you were gonna live at Neverland forever, until Michael told you, well, yo, y'all gotta go. And then they're telling you, oh shit, well, we got 50,000 for you. We got 150,000 for you, 250,000 for you to throw Michael Jackson under the bus. They're gonna take the money because Michael wasn't giving them money, and as he shouldn't, because I'm just helping y'all. I'm doing you a favor. And from what I understand, Michael was the one that helped her with medical fucking bills to take care of fucking Gavin when he was motherfucking sick. He went in his pocket and helped you. Michael Jackson did more than enough. He helped y'all. He gave you guys a leg up. And not that she was broke, because later on in the fucking documentary, come to find out, she sued Macys and got like $150,000 settlement or some shit. So you had money, but Michael helped you anyway. When you connect those dots, it's easy to see the type of game that these people are playing. It's very easy to see. Okay? You meet a multimillionaire. Y'all start hanging out. After a week or 2 weeks, however long it is, all right, so when are you guys going home? And you're like, well, going home? What do you mean? Like, yeah, I have to catch a flight. I'm about to go, over to Europe somewhere. I got a couple of meetings. I got performances. Y'all can't stay here. And then y'all like, but I thought we were family. Listen, I'll see you guys later, all right? The cab is coming for you right now. You tight. You pissed off. And then you don't know how to deal with it. But then again, this third party gives you the perfect opportunity to get back at that person out of spite. And you do that shit. This is what happened. That is the story of the Arvizos. Absolutely. Especially, there's no father in their life. She's a single mother. She already got problems. Off rip. No shade to single mothers, but her specifically, yeah, she's got plenty of fucking problems. So anyway, let's continue. I said apparently, Janet Arvizo called her friend and said that she wanted to leave Neverland, but they wouldn't allow her to leave. Cap. You could have left any fucking time you wanted to. Because Michael Jackson don't got no guns, on the fucking ranch. If y'all wanted to leave, you can fucking leave. Who's stopping you? And that she couldn't talk for long because apparently they were listening to everything she was saying. Again, my question is, what changed? What changed? How long were the Arvizos in contact with Michael Jackson? That's another question. Gavin said that Michael was showing him pornography that was kept in a black briefcase. Great. Now, this fucking briefcase was full of what? Women! The fucking briefcase was full of women. Not men, not boys, not little girls, but women. So what does that imply? That implies that Michael Jackson was a heterosexual man. Hey kid, let's look at this briefcase full of topless women. Oh yeah, by the way, pull your pants down and let me beat your meat for you. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. None. Once I seen that, I was like, well, according to all of y'all people, y'all say that Michael Jackson is gay. Y'all say Michael Jackson likes little boys. So why would a guy who is a homosexual have a briefcase full of naked girls? The math ain't mathin'. The math is not mathin'. What is it? Does he like women or does he like little boys? I don't get it. I don't get it. Then Diane alleges that Michael was having wild parties in a villa in Los Angeles. Who the fuck is the source? Who the fuck is the source? I said, I can easily say that according to a source, Lori Harvey is considering taking herself off the market permanently and wants me to be the father of her children. But how the fuck can I substantiate that? If I can't, it's just a fucking story that I made the fuck up to create a narrative. And who the fuck was he partying with? According to her, young teenage boys. Get all the way the fuck out of here. Who all spoke German apparently. Stop the cap. Michael Jackson voluntarily surrenders, cooperates with law enforcement, and they think that the audio that they played where Michael is asking them to put the air on is in some way, shape, or form incriminating, when if you ask me, Michael does not sound the least bit worried. Because again, if I'm accused of something I didn't do, and I know damn well I didn't do it, I'm not at all worried because I know for a fact I didn't do it. And it eliminates any weight that would have been on my shoulders because I know they can't prove it because they don't have any factual evidence. His publicist said that Michael asked, "What is this obsession with me? Why am I a target?" Finishing by saying that there was a deliberate attempt to get it. Or to get him. Absolutely there was. The most famous entertainer in the world. Ultra powerful in the industry. And what I believe to be a threat to the system that they had to thwart. Because Michael Jackson essentially taking the L of settling out of court wasn't enough. They wanted to put him away. This is the only reason why these people went looking for Gavin and his family after the Living with Neverland documentary aired. If that isn't a deliberate attempt to pursue somebody to create something out of thin air, I don't know what is. All it took was the right dollar amount. Now, let me pause before I even go to the next point. Because now I'm here, I'm warmed up, we rocking now. Because it's been a little while before I did one of these videos. We all, as Michael Jackson fans, we all sit and we all think what Michael Jackson's life would have been if the Pepsi accident didn't happen. What Michael Jackson's life would have been if he never met Jordan Chandler. What Michael Jackson's life would have been if he never met Wade Robson, James Safechuck. What Michael Jackson's life would have been if he never met the Arvizos. What would Michael Jackson's life have been if he never did the documentary Living with Michael Jackson? Really, as you're watching me and listening to that, really think about that for a minute. And as you think about that, I want you to realize that this is what can happen when you associate with the wrong people. These are the things that can happen when you allow the wrong people into your life. These are the things that happen when you give love to the wrong people. Like, I'm not saying like to just close yourselves off and to not trust anybody, but I'm just saying you got to be selective. You know what I'm saying? And then even then, when you think that you know somebody, honestly, you really don't know them until you piss them off. Until you say something that they don't like, until you do something that they don't like, and then see how they treat you then. That is the true merit of how somebody feels about you. It's not when everything is all good. It's not when they're saying things that you like and that you agree with. It's what happens when the opposite happens and you step out of that frame of behavior that they set for you in their mind. Because it's like all right, like me for instance, right? It's like y'all have a certain perception of me as a YouTuber, as a content creator, as a person, right? But it's like I know that for all the videos that I've made on my YouTube, and again, I'm at like 550 plus videos. I'm sure that, let's say the subscribers that have been on my channel since 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. I know that I've said things that they probably might not have agreed with, but I know they're still rocking with me anyway. If I rock with somebody, I'm not rocking with them just because I agree with them on everything. I rock with them for them, whether we agree on everything or not. I think as long as our core values, are in alignment, then I'm gonna rock with you. Because again, I feel that there's a lot to be learned in disagreement, not just agreement, right? Because I feel like if you only watch people and you only support people that agree with you, then it's like you're almost trapping yourself in a comfort zone where, again, everything is in agreement. And then this is why a lot of people have these adverse, reactions to when somebody doesn't agree with them. And then they don't know what the fuck to do. Then all of a sudden they're burning the house down. I really don't understand that. But I think that Michael's life would have been totally different if he had somebody like, yo, Mike. Him? No. Nah, like let's say I'll say this. Will Smith happened. And again, I mentioned Will Smith a lot because favorite actor, all that. After the Oscar slap happened, Charlie Mack, who is Will Smith's like security best friend, longtime, business partner since, way back in the day. Will Smith retreats from the media for a while. And then he comes back and he starts to make his rounds, different, media engagements. Charlie Mack, or Will Smith says that him and Charlie, they were out. And they were in like a green room somewhere. You don't know what a green room is. A green room is like, you go on Good Morning America or Wild 'N Out, and then when they're not on the set on camera, they have green rooms where all like the talent and the crew, they converge and they're all, walking around and, talking and all that shit. Like basically like dressing rooms, but you have green rooms where people, again, like, like a guest room where everybody's there talking. And Will was greeting everybody, and Will was about to go greet a specific person. He didn't name who it was. And when he was about to go say what's up, Charlie was like, nah. Like, not him. Why? Because that person was talking shit about Will publicly back when the Oscars thing happened. So you see what happens when somebody's got your back. You don't go and fraternize with the enemy. Michael didn't really have somebody like that, at least not consistently. To me, personally. No. Nope. Not like his security, because his security, that's not their job to like give their opinion. Because I seen the interviews with Bill. Michael would talk to him and confide in him, but Bill was almost uncomfortable to kind of give him his opinion because one, that's not his job. Two, it's Michael Jackson. It's like, how can I give Michael Jackson, advice? But the thing is, that's the problem, is you see him as this higher entity instead of just another human being with problems similar to yours. He just didn't know what to say. I would have known what to say. I would have been like, yo, Mike, bam, 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 XYZ. I would have told him everything. Anyway, let's continue. So I said Stacey Brown, who is a former Jackson family friend, no longer a friend, alleges that the siblings' support of Michael had more to do with protecting the Jackson brand rather than genuinely supporting him. I said, I don't want to believe that, but at the same time, Michael wasn't super close with them, so you never know. But that would be a damn shame if that was the real motivation behind them being there. No family is perfect, but damn, they threw Jermaine under the bus. Now, I will say this. In Jermaine's defense, because they said some shit like, Jermaine was bragging that they were going to go back out on tour as soon as Michael Jackson beats everything, which actually I would have liked that. I think I would have preferred Michael Jackson to go on tour with his brothers. Like, let's say instead of This Is It, to do a tour with his brothers so he can have that support. It's like, go back to basics. So you're not shouldering the whole burden of touring by yourself and you have support. So there is no room for a Conrad Murray to come in your room because Marlon in there, Randy's in there, Jermaine is there somewhere. But I think, again, like that person saying that, I think it was almost to make the family support of Michael seem less genuine and like a farce, and to make him, and when I say him, I mean Michael, seem more of like an island by himself, which he was. But I think, no, his family was actually there for the right reasons. Otherwise, bro, I don't have to be there every day to protect the brand. They were there all the time. They were always there. I said his so I said his attorney's thoughts on his relationships with children versus adults. His attorney's thoughts on his relationship with children versus adults. I mean, I kind of touched on that anyway, and I think by his attorney, I think it wasn't Tom Mesereau. I think it was this other guy. I don't know his name. I remember what he looks like. And I mean, if anything, I guess I'll briefly give my thoughts on that. And at the end of the day, again, I spoke about this before. All right. And I think y'all listening, you could attest to this if you want to. And, comment if whether you agree or not. But for me, it's like this. As you get older, and I'm talking about just regular people, not even celebrities, real friends, in my experience, are very hard to come by. And what I mean by real friends, I mean like real inner circle, true friends. Because me, it's like, if you want to talk about superficial friends, bro, I got mad superficial friends, outer circle friends, a whole bunch of them. But how many inner circle friends do I actually have? It's not a whole lot. Like, that's just the reality of life. It's like, again, you see people, social media, and it seems like people got a whole lot of friends, but I'm like, yo, if you're really going through it, how many of those followers you got are actually going to show up for you when you're really going through it? Not a whole lot of people. Now, when you take that perception and you project it to Michael Jackson, then it's on steroids. Because I feel the majority of people saw Michael Jackson for what he can do for them, not for who he actually was. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. I think, again, a lot of people, and I'll say fans, a lot of people rock with Michael Jackson for the entity of Michael Jackson and who he was as an artist. But Michael Jackson as a human being with flaws, idiosyncrasies, just everything that comes with being a human. I don't think a lot of people would have liked him. I'm just being honest with you. And I said this before. Because everybody's not for everybody. Why? Because again, if Michael Jackson was so loved and so immensely famous and popular and all that, why was Michael Jackson the loneliest person in the world? And he felt lonely in the 80s. 83. He's walking around Encino by himself looking for friends. I believe it.
Missing out on his childhood continues to affect him to this very day.
You often seem very lonely. Is that true?
I used to be very lonely. Painful lonely. So you have no idea. I used to walk the streets looking for people to talk to. I mean, I can be, usually in hotels when there's thousands of fans chanting, you're out in the street, using sleeping bags, and they're chanting how much they love you and everything, and you can't get out, you feel trapped inside, and you just cry, you feel lonely, And there's all that love out there, but still you really do feel trapped and lonely, that you can't get out. And if you go to a bookstore, if you go out, if you go to a club, which I don't like clubs, every book you buy, they want to know, why are you buying this? Why is Michael Jackson buying this? Why is he reading this? Or you go to the club, as soon as you go in there, every song is my song, as if I want to hear my music. And everybody starts chanting for me to dance. So it becomes a show all over again. So you can't go anywhere. So wherever you go,
That's not much of a life, is it?
I know, it's difficult. And I don't want to complain like I'm complaining, because it comes with the territory, but I don't think people understand the other side that comes with it. So they're so quick to call you strange and weird, but it's almost as if you're forced to be different, because it's not normal life,
I can do the normal things, go to the store and buy a piece of bread, a piece of candy or something. He can't do that. So that would cause you to become a recluse or to sort of be withdrawn.
Do you not sometimes wish that you could go to the local store and
of course
buy yourself some food and come back, or go to a bar?
Of course, I want to go to the market, like one of those markets, and take one of those carts and throw some food in there and go down the aisle. I would love to do that.
Can you do that?
No, of course not. Of course not. I tried, and the whole place stops, and everybody's chanting and getting your autograph, and it's hard. It doesn't work.
So it's not even like all of this happened, after the allegations. No, it was like that at his peak, in his youth. Because again, you have siblings, right? But siblings are not really friends. They're family. It's different. And when they're the only ones that you're ever around, and you don't even really relate to them from a personal standpoint, it's like, that's fucking lonely. Because we can relate to superficial things. We can relate from an artistic standpoint, but on a personal note, I can't really confide in you. I can't really talk to you like that. I could talk to you as a brother, okay, yeah, but it's like the shit that's really going on with me, I feel like I can't talk to you about it. And when you find that in animals who can't articulate, but they can show love, and you find that in children who are not looking at you and thinking about dollars and cents and opportunity, you find solace in that. This is why, again, to the average person, it looks fucking weird. But to me, I get it. People who have not been through any sort of adversity in life will never understand. Will never understand, truly understand at that, what Michael Jackson really, really went through as a human fucking being. People will not understand. Had to switch cameras, my other camera died. Just like last time. Anyway, but before I continue, because I'm about to get into episode 2, I want to talk about a conversation that I actually had in real life with another actor, black dude, as a matter of fact. And we were talking about Michael Jackson. And because I think they were asking me, you know, like some stuff. And he had his basically opinions about Michael Jackson, which is basically that, you know, that he thought not necessarily that Michael Jackson was guilty, but that he was on the fence because he felt like Michael Jackson was unable to stay away from kids. I think was basically what he was trying to say. And he thought he was really saying something when he was saying this shit to me. And y'all already know I had to fucking represent and put that shit, you know, to fucking rest. And what I was saying to him, which before I even get to that, I feel like he represents a very large demographic of people who feel the same exact way about Michael Jackson, for sure. So I knew when I was talking to him, I felt like I was addressing a lot of people's opinion about him. And what I said to him was, I was like, all right, okay, sure. One, I said, people's behavior as adults always stems from their childhood. And again, I talked about that in the other video. But I said that when you genuinely don't feel like you're doing something wrong, then why would you stop doing it if you're not in fact doing anything wrong, especially when you are very open about the things that you're doing, right? If I'm committing a crime, especially a crime that I know that one can not only ruin my life, but can land me in jail, why would I be broadcasting that shit on TV for everybody to see? That doesn't make any fucking sense unless, again, you don't care about going to jail and you don't care about your life. If anybody has something to lose, it was Michael Jackson. But because, again, in his mind, I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't see anything wrong with what I'm doing. So why should I stop when especially what I'm doing is helping lives? You know, it's having a positive impact. So why would I stop doing it? That was Michael Jackson's rationale. You know, especially if, again, the only solace that I get is, again, from animals and children, then why would I cut myself off from the one source of peace that I feel like I'm getting? Why would I stop doing that? And he didn't really have shit to say. I mean, again, like, I'm not in the business of trying to change minds, but it's like, if you're going to speak on something, then you have to consider all sides of it, and you have to offer, you know, again, like, some sort of understanding and grace to somebody who's lived a life that you can never possibly comprehend or understand. You know, and homie's a psychologist. He cool and everything like that. But it's like, you as a psychologist should definitely have an understanding, you know, of, again, psychology on a level that the average person does not have. But clearly, again, someone who, you know, works with children could not fathom, you know, why Michael Jackson would gravitate towards children for someone who works with children themselves. Like, then you, of all people, would get it. And clearly he didn't get it. So yeah, let's continue. Now, oh yeah, so what I really liked is that he says, how do guilty people leave court versus how innocent people leave court? And I'll put like a million exclamation points there. But what I really loved about that moment was, it's like, that's such a great statement, the way that a guilty person leaves court and the way that an innocent person leaves court. Because Michael Jackson left court with his head held high, confident, even though, again, it's a draining process, but he was being strong not only for himself, but for his supporters and his fans. If Michael Jackson actually did something wrong, then, bro, Michael Jackson would have left with his head down, covering himself, going straight to the van and going back home. Guilty people don't leave court like that. Guilty people do not behave like that because they have something to hide. Look at how Diddy used to leave court, and then look how Michael left court. Big difference, because Diddy was guilty. Michael Jackson was innocent. Well, R. Kelly was going to court and shit like that for peeing on girls and having sex with, underage girls, shit like that. How was he leaving court versus how Michael Jackson was leaving court? So this is why I feel like even in this documentary, the fact that it was slanted, it's like they're still shooting themselves in the foot, because that's just how the truth is. The truth is going to come out at some point, and it came out at various points throughout this whole entire thing, despite the bullshit that they said. Now, all right, great. Now, I said Frank Cascio became Michael's assistant. Ironically, fucking enough. It's like, how are you going to become somebody's, assistant, their professional assistant, when you were being abused by them? Now, it says the magazine. It says a phase Michael and him went through. Now, from what I remember, it's a magazine that was depicting nude people. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. Now, here's my thing with that before I even read the rest of the shit, because I know a lot of anti-Michael Jackson people would emphasize that and use that as like, some sort of aha, got him. Now, here's my thing. From what I remember from that magazine, which again, like, I personally, if I was Michael Jackson, I wouldn't even be hanging with Frank Cascio in the first fucking place. I said a phase him and Michael went through. How does that tie into the Cascio family and the accusations towards him? If Michael was sexually abusing all of his siblings, bamboozling their parents, was Frank an exception to all of that? Was Frank an accomplice? Michael's right-hand man in all of this? How does any of that add up into something that makes sense? Now, about the magazine. To me, even if magazines like that were in Michael Jackson's possession, still does not indicate, which are basically, again, magazines of nude men and women, all that shit. Because, technically, bro, if you're watching porn and shit like that, you see naked guys too. All right? So that still does not prove that anything happened to Gavin Arvizo, James Safechuck, Wade Robson, Jordan Chandler. It doesn't fucking prove anything. Especially, again, this documentary does not even cover probably a fraction of the amount of evidence and things, tangible evidence that was brought and shown in court every single fucking day. So the jury saw everything. And then all of them still was like, Michael Jackson is innocent on all counts. They seen everything. None of which was indicative of child molestation, sexual abuse on the part of Michael Jackson. So I take that magazine with a grain of salt. He was looking at those types of fucking magazines. Still doesn't mean anything to me. Personally, to me. In my 8,000 subscribers vlog, I said I talked about obligation and responsibility. And I said that I feel that because I've benefited so much from Michael Jackson, as well as the belief that he's innocent, that I have a moral obligation to defend him. Ron Zonin, Tom Sneddon, and all these people just like them feel the same exact way, but they warped and twisted it because they don't need truth. They just want to see the demise of somebody great, straight up. They just want to see the demise of somebody great, straight up. It's like how they say the difference between a hero and a villain is just perspective. They both feel that they are on the right side, but I think the difference between what could be considered a fictional villain and the average Michael Jackson hater is that a villain became that as a result of their circumstances, right? That's like the villain from Incredibles. He became a villain because he felt looked over, ignored, and not appreciated for his intelligence. or Darth Vader or Bane from a psychological push over the edge. Whereas with these people, it's as simple as looking at someone you don't know from across the room and already making up your mind that you don't like them, but you don't necessarily have an excuse. So you find an excuse to dislike them and hate them. Even if you have to create one, you will do that because the hatred for this person is so strong. When somebody doesn't like you, you don't have to do much, if anything, to get a strong reaction from them because they never liked you in the first place. So I say that to say, you know, Tom Sneddon, Ron Zonin, Diane Dimond, all of these people, they just simply don't like Michael Jackson. Straight up. And the thing is, they're entitled to that. But what my issue with that is, just because I don't like somebody does not mean I get to make up lies about them just to substantiate the fact that I don't like them. It's like, I don't have a good reason to dislike them, so I'm just going to make up something about them. Just make up lies and stories and see, well, you see why I don't like them? Because of lie A, B, and C. I don't agree with that shit. To me, I don't. I fucking don't. Let's continue. They said, despite Michael Jackson's enormous fame and privilege, Michael Jackson at the end of the day was still a black man being charged by a white prosecutor, and he was going to be judged by a white jury. So if anybody was going to find Michael Jackson guilty, it would have been a white prosecutor and a white jury. So we're talking about people that had no bias going into these situations whatsoever. None. So if there was enough evidence to prove that Michael Jackson was guilty, they would have said that, at least on a few counts, right? It's like, all right, Diddy, for instance. For all the charges that were brought against Diddy last year, was he found guilty of what, 2 or 3 of them? So this is what I'm saying. So they still found something on the guy. So even if it wasn't sex trafficking, he was still charged for, I think, like prostitution. I think it was like 2 or 3 charges of prostitution, something like that. Right? So if someone's in fact guilty, you will still find something to pin on them. They weren't able to find anything to pin on Michael Jackson. Not one thing enough where they could say, okay, out of all 5 or 6 counts, he's guilty on this count. That means everything that they had was not enough. It wasn't enough. Not to say, oh, this man is guilty. Okay, yeah, he had pornographic magazines in his house. He's not the only one in America that has pornographic magazines in their house. That's still not enough to prove that he was raping little boys. That's not enough. That's not enough. It's like someone would say, well, Dimitri, was watching porn on his TV, or we found porn history on his fucking TV, so then that means he sexually assaulted this girl. No, it doesn't. You have to actually find DNA testing, you know what I'm saying? Or find, basically, like, it's like, when these things happen to women, they can actually run tests on women to prove that this actually happened to them at a certain particular time. In addition to other tangible evidence to substantiate that claims. But technically, they will have something medical to corroborate with that. Some sort of scarring, tearing, bruises, all of these things. These people had nothing to show for any of that whatsoever. None of it. Anyway, let's continue. So Tom Mesereau said, and this is episode 2, by the way. So Tom Mesereau says that the Arvizos revealed that they were on their way out, and this is what they decided to do. So basically, it seems like Michael Jackson went up to Janet Arvizo, like I said earlier, and said, so what's next for you guys? So what you about to do? And she must have been like, what? I thought we were going to stay here forever. Michael Jackson was like, no, silly. Good one, though. She panicked and pulled this shit. Now I said expound on how relationships change once people get comfortable, or how you break that perception. Oh, well, I basically said that. I said that earlier, so let's continue. Diane Dimond says that living with Neverland, what the fuck? Diane Dimond says living with Michael Jackson is what sparked that entire criminal trial. The butterfly effect. It'll be that one thing that you do, that one decision that you can make that can change everything. That is one of the things that scares me most about life, is that. And I basically expounded on that, the whole what if thing. Diane Dimond and Martin Bashir shook hands. They were in cahoots. This is facts. Because I feel that again, when you're someone like Michael Jackson, who it's safe to say he was in a very powerful position, even after the initial, allegations and stuff like that. So we're talking about, between 94 and 2002, let's say, for instance, or 2001, whatever. He was very powerful. But when your main objective is to get rid of somebody, to attack them, right? How do you do that? So it's like, if you can't, attack the fortress from up front, you flank them, or you hire a spy to infiltrate and then attack them from the inside out. I would not put it past Martin Bashir to have been paid to do a slanted documentary like Living with Michael Jackson. And the reason why I say that is because just watch the shit. And like I said, the beauty of post-production. Why? I make a video. I shoot a video. And then I edit it in such a way where, again, I'm conveying something to you, the viewer, by the way that I edit and arrange a certain video. So it's like when I made my Casio's video, it was clear where I stood based off of the way that I did that video. Or if I make a video essay, it's clear where I stand based off of the way that I make the video, the way I edit it, what I speak on, how I speak on it, what I choose to show, what I choose not to show, so on and so forth. This is why when, the uncut version of it came out, you saw that there was so much that wasn't there. And even at that point, it's like to see the truth was not enough because the lie has been around, for so long. And it's like 50 Cent says, it's like it gets to a point where a lie can actually become the truth if it gets spread around enough. And that's how it got with Michael Jackson. Let's continue. So Martin Bashir wouldn't even, so this is during the trial. So Martin Bashir wouldn't even answer basic questions, and he was told not to answer anything and that the slanted ass film would speak for itself. That's what the motherfucker said in court, which means it was intentionally done to get this outcome. So if not only they shook hands when he came to testify, him and Diane Dimond, that means they know each other. That means they was like this. He was told not to answer anything. Because let's say if Tom Mesereau had the chance to cross-examine this dude and question him, the truth would have easily came out. Just like how it came out with everybody else that he questioned. Because Tom Mesereau is smart. He knows how to do his job. But Martin Bashir knew that he wouldn't last 2 minutes on the stand against Tom Mesereau. So he was like, I can't answer that. I plead the fifth, or whatever the fuck it is that they say in court. I refuse to answer any questions. He did what he was supposed to do. He left. His job was to make a slanted documentary so that way they could find out what's going on in Michael Jackson's house. So that way they could find something and attack that one something. Because I feel like it's not a secret how Michael Jackson felt about Princess Diana. It's no secret. Michael Jackson publicly said how he loved her. She came to see the Bad tour. You know what I'm saying? So they were probably very particular on who they decided to go and get to approach Michael Jackson to do an interview. Because if I'm not wrong, y'all let me know in the comments. Martin Bashir was It's like, did Martin Bashir solicit Michael Jackson or did Michael Jackson solicit him? Let me find out when they did that interview. Hold on, let's find out. Okay. So Martin Bashir did the interview for BBC with Princess Diana in November 5th, 1995. So it was all those years later that he did it with Michael Jackson. Now my thing is this. It was deliberate that he was the guy to do it. Because who else was Michael Jackson giving these tell-all, super in-depth interviews with? Who else did he do that with before that? Oprah. And why would he do that with Oprah? Because Oprah was ultra famous. And she was pretty much like the biggest platform to put it on, really. And then who else would be the equivalent to that? The same person that interviewed one of the people that Michael Jackson loved to pieces, which was Princess Diana. Now, Diane Dimond also implies that because a celebrity does something totally wrong, because they are otherworldly, people are going to willingly turn a blind eye, which isn't fucking true, because fame doesn't change wrong into right. Now, here's my thing. And I've said this so many times before. it doesn't matter if I like somebody, if I respect a celebrity, or if I admire them. If they do something heinous like sexual assault, domestic violence, murder, you know, all types of shit that you can think of that is heinous, you know, human trafficking, whatever, I will not support them if it's proven that they did those things. I won't support them. Just not like, oh, just because this person is famous means that, oh, I'm just gonna just support them just because. No, bro. I'm not an NPC. I'm not a sheep. I'm a free thinker, and I fucking think for myself. So therefore, no dollar amount that somebody else has is going to change wrong into right, especially if this is something that goes against my, you know, moral compass. Bro, I'm not rocking with it. So she's fucking wrong. What she's implying is that people can be bought. That's what she's implying. And clearly what she's done with all of these so-called witnesses that they got to testify against Michael Jackson, those people were bought. Let's continue. I said, shout out to the black lady because it just goes to show the BS. How in the hell did Michael Jackson show you a pornographic magazine, but when the date of the magazine, you know, was done, is after you fucking left Neverland? You lying motherfucker.
Okay, just what you're looking at appears to be a black briefcase with some girly magazines, right?
Yes.
And the first one says barely legal on it. Do you see that?
Yes.
And it appears to be a blonde woman lifting up her shirt, correct?
Yes.
And it appears to be a blonde woman who's exposing her breasts, right?
Yes.
And she appears to be wearing a dark pair of shorts, right?
Yes.
Before you testified yesterday, you looked at that photograph with Prosecutor Snedden, correct?
Yes.
You told Prosecutor Snedden that those are the magazines you had seen at Neverland, right?
Yes.
You told Prosecutor Snedden that Michael Jackson had showed you those magazines, right?
Yes.
Michael Jackson never showed you that magazine, Barely Legal, did he?
What?
Michael Jackson never showed you that magazine, Barely Legal, did he?
He did show us.
He did?
Yes.
Well, Star, did you look at the date of the magazine? It's August of 2003, is it not?
Well, I never said that was exactly that one.
Well, your family had left Neverland many months before, never to return, correct?
I'm telling you that wasn't exactly the one he showed us.
That's not what you said yesterday, and it's not what you said today, right?
Your Honor, that's argumentative.
Sustained. When you told the jury yesterday that Michael Jackson showed you the magazine Barely Legal, you were not telling the truth, right?
I said that he did show us Barely Legal. I didn't say that he showed us that exact one. He showed us those magazines.
You told the jury yesterday that Michael showed you the particular magazine depicted in the photograph, didn't you?
No, I said that he showed us those types of magazines.
Really, nigga?
Just the inconsistencies that they pointed out. You can't play in somebody's face when that person not only has the facts, but the truth. I said shout out to Tom Mesereau. Because, you see, this is what I'm saying. And this is why I feel the verdict told on itself by including these elements in there. Because if someone takes a magazine in front of you and then they say, was this the magazine that Michael Jackson showed to you? And they go, yes, it was. Yes, it was. And then they go, are you sure? I'm going to give you another look at it. Are you sure that this is the magazine that Michael Jackson showed you beyond a shadow of a doubt? Is this the magazine that he showed you? And then the kid goes, yes, that was it. I know for sure that was it. And he's like, how? When the publishing date of this magazine is after you fucking left Neverland. And the kid goes, exactly. You're fucking lying. If you would lie about that, then that tells me you're lying about everything else, bro. You're lying about everything else. If you can't even get that right, then that tells me what the fuck else are you lying about? Let's continue. Shout out to Tom Mesereau. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. I said, I love what the juror said, which is exactly what I've said and have been saying, which is what the prosecution said got to me. But in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty, and that it had to be proven to me that he did this, or they had to prove to me that he did this. Let me read it again. What the prosecution said got to me. But in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty, And they had to prove to me that he did this. And this is from the white lady. I forgot her name. She seems like a nice lady from the jury. And that's how it's supposed to be. You are supposed to be innocent until it can be proven that you were guilty. But in Michael Jackson's case, you are guilty until proven innocent, because there are a lot of people that could not wait to find something wrong with him that they can use to say, oh, see, he wasn't as perfect as we thought that he was. There was something wrong with him. And then they're going to bank on that no matter what. No matter what. So even if it came out that there was 24/7 footage of Neverland that was released to the public, they would still say, oh, that's AI. Oh, well, it looks edited. They took something out. It doesn't matter. Like, these people are always going to move the goalpost no matter what. Because again, when somebody already has it in their mind that they don't like something or somebody, it's hard to change that. Even if you were to try to beat them in a debate, they're still going to go back to default factory settings and then still feel like Michael Jackson's guilty anyway. So it's like you're wasting your time trying to talk to somebody like that. If you're not intelligent enough to do your own research from the bottom up and expose yourself to both sides, both sides of the spectrum, you're stupid. And there's no point in talking to you because you're just ignorant and you want to be ignorant. Because again, if in the court of law, where they spend months on end going to trial, full jury, prosecution, lawyers, evidence, witnesses, and they couldn't come up with anything that would make him guilty on at least one fucking count, how could you say that Michael Jackson's still guilty anyway? You can say you don't like him, but you can't say that he's guilty when it's like, again, a judge, a prosecutor, a jury, witnesses, and lawyers, their whole life is to see these cases through from start to finish. If they couldn't do it, how could you? If they couldn't do it, and this is their job, how could a fucking janky content creator who hates Michael Jackson do it? If they couldn't. Anyone who is intelligent, anyone with common sense, anyone who is scholarly can see trying to prove Michael Jackson, trying to prove that Michael Jackson is guilty is an uphill battle that you will never win. Because you do not have the evidence to substantiate those claims. You only have evidence to prove your disdain and hatred for him, but you don't have enough evidence to prove that Michael Jackson was in fact guilty when he was not. And that's what I said. I'm like, yo, if I was a Michael Jackson hater, I'm gonna look for all the facts. But if I don't have enough facts to actually definitively prove his guilt, then I'm not even going to try to take the shot because I don't have it. I can't really aim, and go for the kill. But they would rather just keep talking about it every day for what? Because it just feeds a nasty, disgusting part of them that is never satisfied. That will be satisfied. Let's continue. I said, okay. They say that during the cross-examination of Gavin Arvizo by Tom Mesereau, Gavin got angry, flustered, and confused. I'm not sure he'd be any of those things if he was in fact a victim. Why would he be rude and not like to be called Mr. Arvizo and talk back? Is it because he felt like Tom saw through his bullshit and got defensive? I think so. They're lucky I wasn't on the jury. Because a lot of times it's like, right, like let's say, like I've heard stories where, like, your girl cheats on you and you find out about the shit and you confront her. The way that a cheater will 9 times out of 10 respond is by being rude, offensive, and angry, and deflecting everything that they actually did wrong on you and make it about you instead of what they actually did. To me, it's like if you lying on the stand and you don't have any truth to support you through the situation, what you gonna do? Just get angry. So then that way you can just smoke screen the fact that you're lying and make it seem like the lawyer is doing something to you by asking you these questions. When in reality, bro, you're fucking lying. And you don't have a leg to stand on. Let's continue. Okay. So Gavin testified that Michael told him that he had to beat his meat. Otherwise, he would grow up to be a man that sexually assaults women. But turns out, he told the sheriff's department that his grandmother told him the same thing. Boom. What Diane Dimond calls a trap, I call asking the right and pertinent questions. It's only a trap to her because it exposes the inconsistencies in what he's told people, as if asking a great question that will move things forward is somehow immoral. Especially when, according to this, he was older during the trial than he was during the initial questioning with the sheriff. So if you told the sheriff that your grandma told you that, you know, if you don't beat your meat, you're going to grow up to be somebody that sexually assaults women, how did Michael say that if she told you that? Shit don't add up. The math ain't mathin'. I said, see, what the fuck? How the fuck do you bring the police into the shit, point the finger at Michael Jackson, and say he did all of these disgusting, evil, and nefarious things, but then say, I want to go back to Neverland and I want to hang out with him still? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Now I'm going to expound on that before I continue. Boom. If I was sexually assaulted by someone, why the fuck would I want to hang out with them after the fact? If they were doing nasty shit that I didn't want to do, and let's say I'm too young to understand, but I get older and I found out what was actually going on, why would I want to hang out with them again after that? Like, at that point, it's like, if I'm a jury and I hear that, y'all might as well just end the case. Michael Jackson did not do anything to that boy if you still want to go back there. The reason why he wants to go back there is because he had a lot of fun. He had a great time. Nothing bad happened to him. And he wants to have that same type of fun again. But he can't. That was the truth. To me, that's almost like a Freudian slip. Almost. Because it's like he said what was really on his heart to say. I still want to hang out with him. But you know you can't. If I was Michael Jackson and I was sitting there in the damn courtroom and he said that, I would have just been like, you think now I would hang out with you? And this is why this mockumentary told on itself. Because no woman that was sexually assaulted wants to be anywhere near her assailant. No, I mean, well, let me not say domestic violence. I know the psychology is a little bit different. But no child that was taken advantage of wants to hang out with their abuser after the fact. There's absolutely no fucking way. And to me, it's like, I could just stop here at this point. And mind you, this is only episode 2. I could just stop here because, again, you're telling me that nothing happened to you, because why would you go back if this place was somewhere that was dangerous for you, that was unhealthy for you? Like, and this is my thing too. If like Gavin Arvizo is still alive, like I don't, like, again, I don't know shit about these people outside of that, but it's like Gavin Arvizo. And if he just happens to be listening to this video, how do you feel knowing that you are a contributor to ruining someone else's life? Like that is a serious, genuine question that I would ask him. It's like, I wouldn't even want to beat his ass. Like it would literally just be a genuine, real question. Like, how do you feel knowing that you were a contributor to ruining someone else's life, when that person's life that you ruined was someone that saved yours? I'm gonna say it again. I would ask Gavin Arvizo, if I ever met him in person, how do you feel knowing that you were a contributor to ruining someone else's life, when that person's life that you ruined saved yours? I genuinely wonder what his response would be. Because if, in fact, Gavin Arvizo was someone who was literally told that he was only had a few months to live, or that he was going to die because he had cancer and all that type of shit, and Michael Jackson was like, no, I'm going to save this child, and this is what you did. in response. Like, if it wasn't for him, bro, you might not even be alive. He wouldn't even have been alive if it wasn't for Michael Jackson. I'm just saying. And that's what you did with your life. Like, this is like, that was his, not even 15 minutes of fame. That was like his 5 minutes of infamy. Because I honestly believe like that. I mean, this is Will Smith's quote. You know, I'm a student of Will Smith. I quote him anyway. But he said, if you're not making the lives of other people better, then you're wasting time. And I relish in being a source of positivity for someone than being a source of negativity for them. And this is one of the reasons why, like, even in romantic relationships, bro, I will break up with a woman very quickly if I see that our relationship is inching into negative territory. I don't even really argue with women anymore. If a woman tries to argue with me, you're probably gone. Like, at that, she's got one time to like argue me about some BS. Especially if that shit is not worth my time, she's gone. Because life is too short. If we're going to be in each other's lives, it has to be for positivity. And I feel the same way for practically all my interactions. Like, it's like I'm dealing with somebody with respect or positivity, or I'm not dealing with them at all. So if I have a problem with somebody, I'd rather just never speak to them ever again in life, instead of dealing with somebody that I know I don't have good things to say, you know, about them, or, you know, to bring to their life. And for someone like Michael Jackson, who again introduced them to a portion of their lives that I'm pretty sure even to this day they look back at from a fond perspective, even now, because I think it's like a breakup, right? And you break up with somebody on bad terms, but it's like you can still remember the good times. But it's like them, it's like y'all, like you're part of the reason why Michael Jackson's not here, and why his health, his physical health and his mental health started to decline. Why the United States of America just made fun of this man. I don't know how some people can live with themselves. I'm sorry, not sorry. I really do, like, if they're alive, again, because I don't know, but I don't, and frankly, they're probably soulless, heartless NPCs that really just don't give a fuck. They probably don't. You know, they probably don't. They probably went to the next opportunity to get some money and all that shit. But I don't know. That's like Jordan Chandler's father. This is why he offed himself, because it's like, bro, like you come on, man. Wow. I don't know. I think a lot of people just live their lives and they just squander it. They just waste time. A lot of people are on Earth and they just wasting time. I don't know. Let's continue. Okay, it says so Gavin Arvizo was angry because Michael wanted him out of his life, not because he was molested. Boom. Same thing. Because it's a sense of entitlement that some people get when they develop a relationship with a celebrity and they themselves are not well off, and they become psychologically adjusted to that status and that level of ease, that the idea of going from a mansion in Santa Barbara, you know, amusement parks right outside the door, animals and all types of shit, and not wanting for anything, to having to go back to whatever, you know, no bedroom studio apartment that they lived in with 3 mattresses placed on the floor. To them, they can't fathom that. And again, the only way that they can react is with aggression, because they don't know how to deal with it. I feel bad for Michael, man. But this is what I'm saying. Like, you can't trust people, bro. You can't. You just can't. I said the funny thing about this documentary is that, as much of a slanted hit piece it tries to be, anyone with common sense will sense. Anyone with common sense, just like that juror, will be able to connect the dots for themselves. The fact that they said, okay, we're losing here and we can't prove anything with Gavin alone, so let's get 5 other boys and pay them to say that Michael Jackson abused them, and we won't have to prove it. All we need is additional accusations to get us by. Bullshit. What they tried to do with this documentary is the same thing they tried to do with the 60-minute cash show segment. Now, before I get to that, again, same thing. They couldn't do shit with Gavin, So they tried to get 5 other boys to accuse Michael Jackson of the same thing. Not necessarily having to prove it, but they just needed to get 5 other boys on the stand, you know, to tell a story. And they thought that was going to get them by. And that shit still wasn't enough. You need proof. You need proof. You can't prove it. Because I'm pretty sure if they had something to go off of, you know, that judge, prosecutor, Tom Snead and all of them, they would have took that shit and stretched it. So if they took $1, they would turn that shit to $100. And then $100 to $10,000. $10,000 to $100,000. They would have if they could have, but they couldn't. I said the fact that they said, okay, no, I got past that part. Which is, okay, so I said what they tried to do with this documentary is the same thing they tried to do with the 60-minute Casio segment, which is to try to invoke emotion in the audience and try to paint a mental picture. In this case, they use animation to recreate the scene as close as possible, and they use sound effects because they don't have real tangible proof. Nice try. You can see clear as day the corny lengths they'll go to prove a lie. I said Melissa Herrard, juror number 8. It says the witnesses were grifters, and you see how easily Diane Dimond will try to skate when it's convenient for her. If something wrong happened, and I know about it, you shouldn't have to pay me or bribe me to do the right thing and tell the fucking truth. And I said this earlier. Michael Jackson was not Scarface. These people had no fear of retaliation whatsoever, especially if children are being preyed upon. And they were paying to get them to flip on Michael Jackson, not to get them to tell the truth. These people are thinking, well, I can use an extra 20K, 50K, 100,000, or even more just to lie on this man that I will never have to see again. Surely these lowly motherfuckers will take it. And when have we known tabloids to be credible sources of information or even having any sort of integrity whatsoever? But according to Diane Dimond, that was okay. No, just to her and Michael's enemies. Nothing was off the table. They were going to pin him as guilty and see him down and out by any means necessary. Now, about Jordan Chandler and his mother. So they brought Jordan Chandler's mother to come to the trial. And she spoke whatever it is that she spoke. They didn't get into any of that whatsoever. And I don't know if that had to do with any like contractual shit that said that they can't be depicted or they can't divulge certain things that happen. And gee, I wonder why. I wonder why they don't want, you know, this story to come out. But what I do know, or what I can say about that, because it seems to me that there's a little bit less details on the Jordan Chandler situation, more so than the Casios and the Arvizos and all that. I could be wrong. I haven't went, you know, deep into it yet. But from what I got from it, Michael Jackson had a relationship with the mother. And the mother allowed Michael Jackson to spend all this time with Jordan and all of this shit. And his father wasn't involved in this situation. And they try to make it seem like Michael Jackson was specifically going after kids that didn't have fathers. But by that logic, the Casios, their dad was around. So that automatically negates that narrative. You know what I mean? But I would like to know more about Jordan Chandler's mother in the future when I do a video about that. Because yeah. And then even with that still wasn't enough, because you would think that, okay, by bringing in the mother of the child who ultimately, you know, ended up receiving a settlement from Michael Jackson for $20+ million. You would think that she would have something game-changing to bring to the table. And again, that wasn't enough either. Even though they didn't divulge anything, I would love to read through all the transcripts and see what the fuck was said, because I'm really curious, you know, to what was going on with that and what she said, because then that'll tell me everything I need to know about what happened back in the day as far as that's concerned. And I already heard Jordan Chandler's fucking father, so, you know, need I say more? I don't have to say anything, because his dad already said, bro, I don't give a fuck how this shit affects Jordy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I got to do so I can get paid. That's what he said, straight from the horse's mouth. Let's continue. JCPenney lawsuit by the Arvizos. They settled out of court for $152,000, but apparently they were living in poverty. Gavin shoplifted clothes. She comes in and starts a fight, but then said the security guard molested her, committing welfare fraud. Out for money, her and her entire family. Exactly. Diane Dimond even said that Janet Arvizo was crazy. The juror called her Janet from another planet. That's funny. This is the behavior of someone who gets exposed but here goes the NPC guy giving excuses or making excuses for her behavior. Same thing. When you look at the behavior of someone who is innocent versus someone who's guilty, it'll tell you everything that they need to know. They showed a clip of Janet Arvizo walking into the courtroom each and every time, and then they said her personalities was erratic. She was like sad one day, angry another day, uncooperative another day. And again, this is the behavior of somebody that is fucking guilty versus Michael Jackson cooperated from start to finish. The only thing that they can say, he came in late one day. That was pretty much it. But yeah, let's continue. All I have to say is shout out to Debbie Rowe. And here the fuck we go again with the conspiracy theorist conspiracies on why Debbie Rowe flim-flammed them and left them out to dry. More shit she can't prove. Will she shut the fuck up already? Damn. Hold that. I said, okay. It said, if the one person that has a reason to hate Michael Jackson doesn't hate him, what does that say about Michael Jackson? That was something that somebody said in the documentary. And I will say this, because I remember at first when they were saying that Debbie Rowe was meeting with the opposition and having dinners and telling them this, and that. But then when she went to the actual court to say all of that, and she flipped on them. And I will say, shout out to Debbie Rowe, because by her doing that, that was a game changer. See, this is what I'm saying. Because they had all these people. They didn't have a game changer. They didn't have a money shot. Even with their own primary fucking witness, their primary victim, the plaintiff, Gavin Arvizo and the Arvizos, they didn't have anything, like substantial where it's like, okay, if nothing else, we can still bank on them. Michael Jackson had plenty of people that spoke up for him. The Arvizos, they didn't have none of that. The opposition, they didn't have none of that. They had to create shit out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? They went and got Debbie Rowe, who, as far as they were concerned, still was at odds with Michael Jackson at that time. And she had nothing but good things to say about Michael Jackson on the stand. What does that tell you? If the one person that has a genuine reason to hate Michael Jackson does not hate Michael Jackson, what does that say about Michael Jackson? Like I said, this whole mockumentary told on itself. Let's continue. So, Wade Robson. Hey. All right. Wade Robson, and I've spoken about Wade Robson a bunch of times, but what I will say about Wade Robson testifying in Michael Jackson's favor is this. It's proof that people will do what they got to do to attain a certain dollar amount for themselves. And again, Michael Jackson's Money Song. Let me read the lyrics. Now, I got to read the lyrics. I have to read the lyrics. I'm sorry. I got to read the lyrics, bruh. Money lyrics. I got to read it. I got to read it. Yep. It says, if you show me the cash, then I will take it. If you tell me to cry, then I will fake it. If you give me a hand, then I will shake it. You do anything for money. Where do your loyalties lie? Is that your alibi? I don't think so. You don't care. You do her for the money. Say it's fair. You sue her for the money. Want your pot of gold? Need the Midas touch? Bet you sell your soul because your God is such. You don't care. You kill for the money. Do or dare. You thrill for the money. Or the thrill for the money. Because here's my thing, man. And I said this before. It's like when you're truly a victim, no amount of money can fill the void or repair the damage that was done to you. No amount of money. All you want is justice. But when you look at these two, and they're asking for over $200 million. What I would want if I was them is to be able to prove, to be on the shadow of a doubt with all the evidence that I could muster that this man is guilty. And they tried to do that and weren't able to prove shit. They weren't able to prove a damn thing. And these motherfuckers are going to trial, what, 2 years from now? And it's just like, same thing. Like, I can imagine, like, if I met Michael Jackson when I was a kid and I'm all starry-eyed, and then I would have the audacity to stab him in the back the minute that somebody offers me multi-millions of dollars that he wouldn't give me. Because what people have to understand is that to be around Michael Jackson and to be able to have conversation with him, to have a personal relationship with him, it's like, what people don't get is that that relationship is priceless. Okay, I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone that, like let's say a Wade Robson, or just someone that knows Michael Jackson. Money is not even on the list of things that I would hope to gain from Michael Jackson's company, to gain from being Michael Jackson's friend, to gain from being Michael Jackson's student, a collaborator, personnel. You can't put a price tag on that, because to sit and talk to Michael Jackson about life, about business, about relationships, about art, creativity, the world, spirituality, the amount of game that I would get from Michael Jackson, it's like I could take that conversation and then be able to create something for myself. If, let's say, to be economically sound is something that I want, it's like, bro, Michael Jackson does not have to reach into his pocket to help me become, successful. All he has to do is tell me something, give me a pen and a paper, and I'll figure out the rest. Because I'll be like, oh, okay, Michael, what? You know what I'm saying? Like people are always looking for the shortcut to some shit because they don't want to do the work for themselves. They are not able to achieve hundreds of millions of dollars on their own, so they're taking a shortcut to try to get the money that way. Right? And for me, I feel like it's disgusting, it's despicable, it's lazy, because it's like your claim to fame, your claim to wealth is through someone else who abused you. And the thing is, me, I wouldn't even want a dime from somebody that wronged me in that type of way. Hell no. Because that's blood money at that point. I don't fucking want that shit. Don't give me the money. I just want to prove that the nigga did the shit and to get actual justice based off of what I can prove, not what I can pay. Because again, millions of dollars on the dime of somebody that did you dirty, to me is not no, absolutely not. So 7 days of deliberations. Did a 7 days of deliberations. His head of security's emotions reading the Bible verse. Versus Al's toy barn. I felt him. Okay. All right, bet. So when I said that, it's because you see someone who is feeling true emotion. And what happens as a result when you're truly overwhelmed with emotion that you can't even keep it inside. And as an actor, I learned that if it's real to you, something real will happen as a result of that. Like, if you make it real, then something real would happen. When we saw Al from Al's Toy Barn, you know what I'm saying? Nothing real happened. You see somebody trying to have an emotional reaction. I'm like, when you're actually feeling emotions, you don't have to try to be emotional. You will just be emotional. If I sit right here and I'm telling you a story about something sad that happened to me, bro, shit gonna get real because I'm talking about something real that happened, and real emotions, are going to come as a result of that. Thus, real tears will manifest. But when you faking it, you gotta be because it's fake. And I said what I think and thought of that time period and Michael's emotional state at the time and the look on his face. Now, I remember the verdict being live on TV. That I remember that. And again, this kind of went over my head because when that happened, I think it was like a school night. And I remember my mom was like, "Oh, amen," or something like that. And again, like, I had no perception of legalities or anything. Like, I knew people were making fun of Michael Jackson and stuff like that. But again, I was a kid and I was in my own world. Like, I was still putting up productions of The Wiz in my house. I was still, watching music videos, Smooth Criminal and Thriller as if them just came out yesterday. So in my mind, I'm not really understanding what's happening, but it's just like watching it now as an adult, I'm understanding like the stakes that were at play. It's someone's life was on the line over a fucking lie. And I think, at that point, even if it's the, like, what you're carrying with you is the truth, it's still scary because you don't know how people are going to perceive a lie also. And how easily people can be swayed by just the littlest thing. And to think that the next X amount of years of your life can be doomed to a jail cell is scary. Especially Michael, not built for that. I mean, dare I say, no human being is built for that. Human beings can be conditioned for certain shit, but Michael Jackson, no. And it just crazy. Like that whole time period to me, it just seems like a whirlwind. And for me, just on the outside looking in, but just a nonstop nightmare for Michael Jackson. Because again, it's like, for all the love that he was getting, it's like, for someone like him, think about it, man. It's like Michael Jackson was not, living his day-to-day life surrounded by all these people all the time. It's like, even like me, right? And I've heard another content creator, say this. It's like, we get on camera, we entertain y'all, and then we still gotta hit, the off button, and then it's just us. And that's true. So think about Michael Jackson, right? You get on stage, you're performing for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and then you get off stage, you go to a hotel room, and you're sitting by yourself. And you do that day in and day in and day out. YouTubers all the time. But when we talk about Michael Jackson, I'm like, this is a guy who spent the majority of his time by himself. And then if he was ever around people other than his kids, these were collaborators and stuff. And it's like, what support do you really have at that time period? Like, I mean, even me, it's like, I need support in my life. Everybody needs support, especially black men. We really need it, in this world. And I feel like he didn't really have the support that he needed. It's like, yeah, your family is there, your mother's there and all that, right? I get that. Your fans are outside. But I don't think Michael Jackson had the support that one would need to mentally come out on the other side of a literal trial like that. And I don't want to say be unscathed, but be, to have your mind and your heart and your spirit still in one piece. I feel like Michael Jackson, when the trial was over, I felt like and again, like, this is just based off of what was said and what I've heard, but I just feel like he just wasn't the same. After that, like, he wasn't the same. Like, I think after the first one, I think it did damage, but not such where his spirit was broken. And I think the second, even as me talking right now and I'm just perceiving it, I just really feel like Michael Jackson's spirit was broken after that. It's just like, he just wasn't the same. And I feel like his spirit was already kind of fragile anyway. But because it's the people that do the most damage to you are the ones that are closest to you. And the people that did the most damage were the ones that Michael Jackson invited into his life. People could talk about his father, right? And his father was able to do that because his father was, close to him in order for him to do all of those things. And I was sad, and, I'll talk about these two things, all at once, but, because I said all 10 counts, not guilty. But after that was the first time that I had shed tears for Michael Jackson in a long time. And I'm just being real with y'all. Like, y'all know me. Like, I'm always 100% real and transparent, on this channel. And I felt like I had kind of shared in his emotions, having not necessarily put myself in his shoes, but putting myself in that time period as a fan, as a human being, and wondering what that was like, right? It's like when I saw Spike Lee's Malcolm X for the first time, and you know, I cried at the end of that movie because I was like, wow, like this is a real story, like this was a real thing. Malcolm X really existed, and all he wanted to do was help people, and he got assassinated by his own people in public at a speaking engagement. And I thought the same thing about Michael Jackson. I'm like, all he wanted to do was help people, and this is what happened as a result of that. That was the first time I cried for Michael Jackson in a long time. And the reason why I don't cry, you know, about Michael Jackson like that a lot anymore is because I don't view Michael Jackson from a lens of mourning. You know, I view Michael Jackson from the lens of celebrating life and understanding that, you know, the spirit goes on. You know, that legacy continues. Energy still exists. And Michael Jackson left a lot of energy on this planet where, I mean, shit, you know, again, just look at the movie, look at the fucking biopic, for instance, and how the way that people celebrate and stuff like that. You know, just his life and his music. But I think to be able to shed tears on his behalf is just as necessary, because I feel to say that you love Michael Jackson, I think you have to be able to love all parts of him. And that also includes the pain that he endured in his life. And yeah. Because they said that he, you know, after the verdict was read, it's like he didn't even like react. Like he was almost like it was just an out of body experience, because his life could have went here or there. And I put down that I forgot who it was. Someone said to Frank DeLeo, like, oh, you know, this is great, this is a victory, Michael Jackson, you know, da 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 da. And Frank was like, you don't get it, do you? He was like, you don't get it. He was like, Michael Jackson will never recover from this. And he was right. He was right. He was right. And again, I'm just going to say it again. It's on my heart to say it, but it's just like, you don't really fuck with Michael Jackson if you don't understand this part of his life. Because it's not always about the music and Thriller and partying and dancing and all this shit. Like, that was just the front facing Michael. That wasn't the Michael behind closed doors, the Michael sitting at home by himself with nobody around. The profound loneliness and pain and trauma, the insecurities, like these are the things that you have to look at. And it's like, well, could you have known him and known all these things about him and have accepted him just the same? Because, you know, I talk about race all the time on my channel. Y'all know that I'm unapologetically black. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? But I feel that for black men, despite what Michael Jackson looked like later in his life, that was still a fucking black man, straight up and down. I feel that it's not acceptable or safe for black men to display emotions that society doesn't deem acceptable, or emotions that they don't want to deal with, or they don't want to acknowledge. And right, like, okay, so like, let's say Michael Jackson talking about I didn't have a childhood, and talking about all the things that he went through, let's say in his interview with Oprah, things that he wrote about in his memoir, his biography, you know, Moonwalk. People don't want to hear that shit. What did people do? Make fun of him. That's what they did. They made fun of him. it's rare that you can bare your soul to the world, and then the world will try to heal, you know, the cracks in you. As a matter of fact, they'll make them shits bigger. They'll try to break it instead. They're like, oh shit, it's there, and try to beat it down. You know, what society thinks is okay for black men, and again, I'm speaking as one, is, see, society likes it when you're happy and you're entertaining everybody. You got a smile on your face. It's not safe for a black man to be angry. Why? Because when Michael Jackson, you know, had the Panther sequence at the end of Black or White, and he was lashing out at the end of the video, they said that this was inappropriate. When what was he actually lashing out against? Hate, KKK, swastikas, you know, racism, all that shit. But a black man breaking shit is violence, right? When Michael Jackson was like, yo, this is easy to look at in comparison to what's really out there. You got action movies where people getting shot, killed, all types of shit, but me jumping on a car and breaking glass is such a big fucking deal. Just because we want to see that, but we don't want to see it from you. We want to see that shit from Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, white guys. We don't want to see that from you. That's like Eddie Murphy, for instance, right? People, let's say if Eddie Murphy was not always laughing with a smile on his face, people wouldn't like him as much. It's because people want to go see Eddie Murphy laugh, smiling, and being happy. But the minute Eddie Murphy would be like, oh, I'm not in a good mood today, people are like, oh, what's going on with Eddie Murphy? Kanye West, another example. At least, you know, older Kanye. Same thing. It's like people want to see Kanye West happy and making music and all that shit. But the minute he's telling you he's going through shit, all of a sudden he becomes crazy.
What's a fashion trend you regret participating in?
Life. Oh, what's his problem? It was not safe for Michael Jackson to tell people what was going on. And I don't think the average person would accept Michael Jackson. Like, I mean, shots fired. You can say what it is. I've dated, or I've talked to a couple of, you know, black Michael Jackson, you know, fangirls, and I've dated, you know, a couple of them, right? But I'll say, I'm like, you can know a nigga just like that in front on him. Most people like Michael Jackson for money and his fame, and the way that you perceive him as a result of his wealth and his status, not for who he actually was. Because again, very few people actually knew the real Michael Jackson. Very few people got to see a side of him that no one else got to see. There's a reason why his security guard said Michael Jackson was tired and he decided to leave, meaning he probably could have fought spiritually to stay in his body, but he was like, yo, the man couldn't even sleep, having to take sleep medication. That's horrible. He had a wife, quote unquote. She had bad things to say about him. Where was she? And I think I read somewhere where she was like, oh yeah, you know, I think she said that like Michael Jackson reached out to her in the midst of all of this shit. And he was like, yo, do you still love me? And she was like, no. She told him no. I'm just saying, Michael Jackson was not somebody that was surrounded by a lot of people. He's on stage. You see him making music, but he still got to go home and be by himself. He did not have support. And support as you get older is very, very hard to come by. And this is why I was shedding tears and I was crying, because I'm like, yo, I can only imagine what that's like. And it's like, I faced my fair share of adversity in this life. Trust me, I have. You know, it's like Goku in the Broly movie. You know, he was telling Broly and shit. It was like, yo, we faced our fair share of enemies, and it was flashing, you know, Raditz and Frieza and Vegeta and Cell and Majin Buu, all of these different enemies. It's like, yeah, bro, like I've dealt with a lot of shit to get here. But I think the stuff that Michael Jackson went through, it didn't make him stronger, because he didn't have that solid of a foundation to withstand that adversity and still be able to stand strong. Michael Jackson got weaker over time. He did. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, he didn't have it. He didn't have it. And he didn't have a lot of people around him either. And I'm glad that that security guard did that interview, and he said, yo, bro, I didn't see all of these celebrities around Michael Jackson when he was going through it. I didn't see them around. They wasn't there like that. So what does that tell you? And you can't confide in your kids, at least not really, because again, what Michael Jackson was going through was grown folks' business. heavy stuff, man. That was the first time I cried for Michael Jackson in a long time. Like, I didn't cry back then when I was a little kid, but it's like, as an adult, I was like, even though I knew that Michael Jackson would be found innocent, but it's like, I couldn't help but feel that suspense and that uncertainty of what that was in that moment when there were, like right moments before they said, all 10 counts not guilty. Like, I still felt like uneasy. And then even now, he's not here. And you still have people accusing him for shit that they can't prove that he did. You still have people attacking Michael Jackson every day. Attacking people like me. A random stranger to them. Because they hate him so fucking much. Like this type of shit, people don't make it mentally if they're not strong enough. Some people can't take the shit. And this is why the security guard says that, and I believe him. It's like Etika. For those of y'all that don't know, black content creator, very popular years ago. And he decided to, unalive himself in 2018. Why? Because he was going through a whole bunch of shit. People talking about him, making fun of him, all types of shit. And now he's not here. And the reason why I feel the way that I feel is because I genuinely love black people. And I see myself in other people's struggle. And even if it's not the same struggle that I have, but I have empathy for the next person, because it's like, you never know, the shoe can easily be on the other foot. And, it's just sad, bro. Like, even now, to this day, you got people that he knew that are doing the same shit. So just imagine if Michael Jackson was still alive and then he had to go through that same thing again. He had to go through that same shit again. Cassios, Wade Robson, and James Safechuck. He had to go through the same shit. I don't think he would have made it mentally. He wouldn't have made it. No. Because that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Like, I'm just thinking about all of that. Like, just how often do we sit and put ourselves in his shoes? That's what I said. I'm like, yo, it's not just about music and having fucking fun and doing all that shit, bro. Like, y'all niggas, like, nah. Because me is like, yo, my heart be hurting for him sometimes, yo. Because, and it's not like Michael Jackson didn't love life. Like, I'm pretty sure at some point he did, but that shit can get too heavy, man. And you got people you don't even know that'll hate your fucking guts. People you don't know from a grain of salt will hate you. Yeah. It's like, I feel the same way I felt when I finished watching, except I'm not crying this time. I'm just more like, it's because it's a buzzkill, bro. Because he wasn't the same after that. And I'm thinking about, like, Michael Jackson back in the 70s, the 60s. It's like, if I were to have a conversation with Michael Jackson, like he was in New York shooting the whiz, and then I got a chance to talk to him, like, yeah. Damn. Because I always used to say, I'm like, yo, I wish Michael Jackson was still alive. I wish Michael Jackson was still alive. Why? So he could be going through all of this shit still? You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even do it, bro. Like, he didn't even do that shit, bro. Like, Michael Jackson didn't even do that shit, bro. I think I don't know, bro. I think about society and like just this world, you know, that we live in. I just feel like if people can just find a reason just to misunderstand you, yo, they will, bro. If people can figure out a way to like break your spirit, they will do that shit if you let them, or if you're not strong enough to like withstand that shit. And if Michael wasn't, you know, didn't have the strength, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. You know, it wasn't his fault, because, you know, speaking from experience, it's just like, you know, there's a lot of people that would try to break you down, yo, for like no reason, bro. Like you ask them like what you even mad about, like they couldn't fucking tell you. They couldn't tell you what their fucking problem is. It's just that they just don't like the light that you have, and then it's blinding them, so they try to block you out. Because it's like if Michael Jackson was here, it would have I don't want to say something would have taken him out, but I don't know. I just feel like Michael Jackson deserved better, bro. Because, yo, I would hate like it to be me, and then people are just making up lies about me, making up stories, bro. People trying to make money off of me, you know, slandering my name, and then calling me like the most nefarious thing you can call somebody, which is someone who abuses children. And I'm not even here. And then people that I open my door to are doing that shit still. And then if it wasn't them, it's some executive that wants to get me for what I own, because they feel like I shouldn't own the shit. Welcome to planet Earth, yo. Or the United States of America. Damn. Like, I know I have more thoughts, but I'm just like, so, you know. Because if... So I just feel like that if you know, if he was still alive, that people would have just figured out a way to try to kill him anyway. Like he just couldn't be here, bro. Yeah, so basically, my iPhone ran out of space. I knew that shit was gonna happen. But like I said, yeah, it's very emotional. And if you couldn't already tell, it's like I'm somebody that genuinely does have a lot of love for Michael Jackson. You know, the man has been like a superhero to me since I was a little kid. You know, as soon as I was old enough to have somebody to look up to, he was the guy. And I feel like, you know, sometimes superheroes need help too. You know, how many superhero films have we seen where Spider-Man needed help, Iron Man needed help, Batman needed help? They all have moments of weakness where they need someone to help them. Black Panther, so on and so forth. And but it is very sad, like I said, to feel that regardless of if he died in 2009 or if he died you know, later on, it's like it really wouldn't have made a difference, because kind of like what his security guard was saying, Bill Whitfield, again, like I don't know, like he just didn't know what to make of all the hype surrounding the biopic, when it was just like, yo, it wasn't like that when I was working for him. You know what I mean? It's like, where were all of these people when, you know, things weren't going so well for him? And I feel that. And again, I know a lot of people are like that in real life, where people are cool with you when either you're in a good mood or everything's going well for you. But if you're in this bad situation, are these people actually going to show up and help you? Probably not. And yeah, just very sad, man, because again, I rarely think of him from the aspect of, oh, he's not alive, he's not here anymore. Sometimes I forget that he's not alive. But to think that it just really wouldn't have made a difference when is very sad. And just to put myself in his shoes and to think about, you know, what that was like for him, and then how lonely life was after the fact. And again, people are only rocking with you when you're Michael Jackson, the entertainer and the entity, and not Michael Jackson, the human being. And it's like, well, who's gonna really love you, you know, for who you really are? That shit is fucked up. That shit is fucked up, to have people just hate you, make fun of you, belittle you, and you didn't even do anything to them. Like, I don't know these people from a grain of salt, but they're dedicating their whole entire lives to try to slander my name. That's so fucked up. But yeah, man. So for those of you that wanted my reaction, my review of the verdict, this is it. I did not think that, you know, I was going to get emotional. This is the second video that I shed tears. No, really, technically the third one that I shed tears on in the video. So, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into the shit. That shit just ruined my fucking mood. Yeah. Oh, I also will say there will be more videos like this. I am starting a series called Defending Michael Jackson, and it's going to be a series of content which is for the sole purpose of defending Michael Jackson in a positive way. You know, we ain't gonna be, you know, doing too much battle and shit like that. But anyway, I'm done with this shit. What are your thoughts? Please be sure as always to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.
What hurts you most?
When they lie. The lies. They're complete lies. And it hurts. And it hurts me because I know there's children out there who has to hear that crap.
Why do people do that when all you have done is brought some of the most beautiful music, most beautiful popular music that many of us have ever heard, Why do people want to judge you if you've done, all you've done is been an artist and brought wonderful music?
Because with success, people become jealous. It hurts to be misunderstood. No matter how much you try to put people on track, there will still be some judgment, things said that it's so far from the truth.